Hello traders, John at StockBookie.com. Today we're looking at the SPY, the IWM, the Qs, the DIA, the IYT, the USO, the UUP, the GLD. We follow the daily, weekly, monthly timeframes, and we use technical analysis here at StockBookie.com. So let's get right into the daily SPY chart. We are at resistance at 227.12 and this upsloping trend line around 228.25. And let's see what happens. There's really no pattern. It is chopping around sideways, so it's slightly bullish. We did come back and fill the gap. There is another gap down here, and 20 MA support. So there's a lot of support up here. This one will keep curling up. Right now, nothing wrong with the SPY. Weekly chart, same thing. We're going to wait for the Friday close, see what happens with this, and then we'll look at this a little bit closer. Again, into the trend line, into the 227.12 resistance. So holding so far. Let's see what the next couple weeks brings us. Again, going into the holiday season. It's going to be light volume environment unless some news comes up or something crazy happens that maybe get something. But right now, people are just relaxing, taking time off, and enjoying spending time with their families. So weekly, let's go to the daily, not the weekly. Daily chart of the IWM. We are pulling back slightly for the last 3 days. Now we're chopping around inside this red bar. We are still above the MA, so strong stance. We still are trying to hold the 382 retrace as well, right around the 135.65 area. So be aware of that. Let's no pattern, still bullish. Let's see what happens in the next couple weeks if we set up for a next pop up, and if we do, maybe 140, maybe a little bit higher. If we do actually have some selling ever in these markets, we could actually come down and fill the gaps. That's what markets like to do. Then ultimately the gap down here around 115.61. SPY 2. I'm not right now. Everything's pretty strong, so I'm just showing where these things could possibly go. Again, weekly chart's fine. You're inside this bar. This thing could chop around for the next 7, 8, 9 weeks. If it does do it like that, nice bullish pattern, we could possibly see higher prices. And who knows? Maybe 150 at this point. Why not, right? No, but anyways, let's just wait for pattern and see what happens, guys. Weekly charts on the Qs is that. Let's pull up the daily. Daily chart just chopping around up here. We did get above all the all-time highs, but we haven't confirmed yet. Volume's getting a little bit lighter as the days go by, so let's see what pattern this develops. We do have a couple little candlesticks pulling this thing down, a couple bears coming in, bringing it down. But right now, nothing wrong. You're still above the MAs. Let's see if this thing pulls back or sets up for possible little bullish wedge here. And then the 20 MA comes into price and pops this thing up. That's what I'm looking for. If it gets below the MAs, then this thing's probably going to come back and retest this trend line down here. Then you have a couple other ones I'll have to draw in the next week or two. Who knows? I mean, I want to see what support is. This is coming from somewhere too. You got the bottom here. Then also you have the trend line support up on top too. Where are we here? It's not the best, not the worst. Well, a lot of these stocks have this stuff right now. If you want to draw something there, it's an upsloping trend line. Not the best, not the worst, but you got to respect it in a certain way. And a lot of these charts do have this upsloping trend line if you look at them all. Dow, did the Dow have one? Dow had one there. And then there's a big one down. The Dow's in no man's land. Let's see. Is there another one here? Maybe go back here and connect the high. Sorry, guys. I'm just thinking out loud here, going, all right, is there anything here too? Because I haven't really looked at. I don't really follow the Dow too much. I do it because a lot of people ask me to do it. This thing's just going. Yeah, you can have 3 stocks just ripping, and this thing's flying. Which that's why I don't trust the Dow. It's only 30 stocks, so if 2 are going, this one's possibly going higher. Then they just rotate to the Goldman Sachs, then back to the Nike, back to the JPM, back to this one, back to Exxon. It's pretty easy to make this thing go up. When you have 500 stocks like the S&P 500, then it changes things up. Or the NASDAQ, or the Russell. You have a lot more. So, all right, enough of that. So the DIA or the Dow, almost 20,000, pulling back, chopping around. Can we get through it? Maybe. Let's see. I would think so after all this. Why not? But sometimes things stop short of huge levels and they pull back. So when it got to Dow 10,000, it did that too. Got up there, almost there, and then pulled back. I think it might have popped through, but it pulled back then too. But right now, we're right at the 200 even number. Big, just natural resistance. We are up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months. So 6 months of pretty much up action, and pretty big moves. So you'd expect something to come in here, but we'll see. It's a weekly chart. Let's see where we close tomorrow. If we close above this green bar, it's still slightly bullish. We could move higher, but it is getting a little bit extended from all these moving average, which you got to keep an eye on. So, all right, let's get into the IYT. IYT 91 cents up, no great shakes. Still at all-time highs, but it did come back below the 167.79 area. On the weekly, we got to see tomorrow, but it did close below that on the daily as well. So you got to keep track of that. A little bit weaker than the rest of them. Pulled back pretty nice yesterday. Let's see if we set up inside this bar. Maybe retrace up one more time. Maybe more downside. If you're a bull, you need to get above the all-time high of 171.16. You get above that, maybe 173 to 175, maybe depending on the overall market. But if these start leading the way down, you got to be aware of that. So right now we're in limbo right now. Not too much to do. If you're long, tighten the stops. If you're short, just hold on tight. So that's what I'm thinking. I mean, because moves like this, parabolic. I mean, we had a nice bullish pattern. We talked about that for weeks, and it did fine. So man, if this thing doesn't break out, and then finally it broke up. So as it moves up, you got to just short stuff. And then as you're pulling off winners, you're coming back into these and adding more, or you're just putting on other trades. You got to keep trading, guys. That's our style. Short-term trades, just keep trading and banging them out. All right, so weekly chart pulling back, nothing to do. We'll see on Friday's close. All right, let's get to the USO. USO's been a fun one, guys. Straight up, straight down, straight up. Let's go to the 10-minute on this one. This is intraday action, guys. I mean, it gaps down, comes right back up. I don't know what news came on. I'm sure it's all news-driven. Then it pulls back really nice, setting up in a little bearish pattern here, but 10-minute bearish, you can almost play it, but tomorrow's a new day, so you really don't know what's going to happen. 60-minute chart, nothing terrible. You still got, well, you got below the MAs. You were above them for a little bit, got below them. It's in a 50-50 stance. It could move down a little bit more. We are at this gap here too. We did come back up and close above it. So where that did we come? No, by the pivot. But I still think this could come down to easily 1072. All right, but let's get back into the daily. Like the others, this one has a trend line. This one is down sloping, which I like a little bit better. It's just trying to get through here, guys. Every time it tries, comes right back in, tries again, comes back in, tries here, comes right back in. So this one too, we almost got it up. We got it above 1180, double top, little pivots here. That forces a lot of people, a lot of stops are probably right there. So instead of going a little higher, above 1205, 1207, if you have to put a hard stop, put it after the big numbers. Don't put it at 12. Put it at 2, 12, 17. Market, a lot of people are sitting on this 12 even number, and you don't want the market makers to come out and stop you out. So that's if you can't. That's if you have to put a hard stop in it or what have you. I'm on the charts all day, so I can do this stuff. Weekly chart, same thing. No great shakes here. You're above the MAs. You are back below the trend line. Let's see what the weekly close is tomorrow. I can tell you for hours what this chart looks like, but until we get the close tomorrow, then I can figure out if we're above it and below it, and that tells us one thing or the other. UUP, man, this thing, guys, this thing's just ripping. I'd like to see more consolidation on the weekly before it goes up. That means we're probably not going to have that big. If it gets up to these top areas, you got to short it. That's what this means, basically. You know me, guys. But daily chart, UUP, nothing wrong. We did talk about, move a little bit too fast, too far, pulls back, too fast, too far, pulls back, then keeps going. This had a little bit of a tail today, nothing crazy, but let's see if we get to that 226 or 2683 area. If we go to the weekly chart on the UUP, you can see these areas a little bit better. 226 or I keep thinking of the SPY and the IWM and all that stuff. 2683, little high pivot here. 27.21, there's another high pivot there. And there's another one. I'm thinking 28 bucks if it really gets going, but one day at a time, guys, with these. But with the dollar going up, though, gold's getting pounded. So if you're not long, well, if you're short gold, start taking some off the table. Gosh, I wish I was short gold. I never thought when this thing was going up, I figured, oh my gosh, it's going up without us. I never thought it would just retrace back in this inside bar and just crash, not crash, but That's a nice pullback for gold, 10%. Actually, more than that. We were at 130, so not a crash. Don't get me wrong, people. It's not a crash. But man, we talked about all these gaps, going right to them, every one. Next one, 105.02. Next one is around 101.49.50 area. So, if you're nibbling on it like me, keep nibbling. We get down here to 105, nibble a little more. You got down here about the 100 area. You got to add more. Maybe even push it up to a 8-9% position, because we want to get in and get out of this thing, guys. So that's what we're looking at gold. So if you're short, just get ready to cover. Just trail that, stop out. And if you're, if you're wanting to get long, if you're long, then hold tight. I mean, I think it will come back up here eventually. You might be married to it, but if you're not long, you got to definitely think about 105 to the 100 area to put something on down in here. I'm expecting at least a bounce. If this thing really gets going, I'd say back to the moving averages around 120 at this point, 121. But again, these moving averages will curl, so they'll come down in the price. Maybe we get 116, 117. So if you're in this thing nibbling, you got to load up down in here. If you're going to do like 500 shares of this thing, you should be going like 100 and 100, or even 50, maybe 50, 100, depending on what you want to do. I mean, that's what I would do. Just slow and say, if you get 150 shares in this thing and this thing moves, 10, 15 bucks, that's a great trade, guys. So, all right, that's enough for me today. It was wow, I drove around today. Just a heck of a day, guys. That's why I haven't been doing any live stuff. I'll get there, guys. But, for you who stuck around a little bit, I'm hopefully going to do one tomorrow. I'll post something, of course, before I do it. So we'll go from there. All right, guys, it's been a long day for me. I'm just babbling on now. So, all right, so watch for gold. Watch the dollar tomorrow. Do we get a sell-off or anything? There's really nothing telling me that there could be possible sell-off. Just watch volume on the SPY. And again, we're in some pretty good resistance up here. So if this thing continues up, then beware. Is they're going to do a blow off top, and this thing could possibly pull back hard and fast. So, but it'll be quick and painless. By the time everyone realizes, it will be down at 180 again, maybe. No, who knows? Again, we're going to steer step this thing down, hopefully 208, 200, moving average, got gap fill, and man, I would love to see down in here. I'll be going long down here. Maybe I'll be taking shorts off and then adding, as this thing comes in. So. Again, great resistance up here for all you guys who stuck around. This is big time. If we get above here, we should crack higher, but it's going to take a lot more volume, a lot more conviction. But man, they're doing a great job. We are in the holiday season, like I said, so anything's possible, guys. It's the Santa Claus rally. It's the Santa rally. It's the low volume, no participation rally. Even though we're getting a little bit better volume, but it's all the FOMC lip service. All right, guys. I'm tired. I had a long day, but thanks again for subscribing, following me on the Stock Twits and the Twitter. And if you like these videos, like I said, subscribe, and I'll be pumping out more, doing some live stuff. I love this stuff. I do it full time, and hopefully I can share my knowledge with you guys, and hopefully put you guys in some good positions, and go from there. All right, guys, have a great evening. God bless, and see you on the charts.